So you're thinking about getting out of debt because you're realizing that it's hurting your monthly income every single month. You just don't seem to be able to catch a break. So the very first step in getting out of debt is going to be recognizing that you're in debt. And I'm not just talking about like, oh yeah, we put a little bit of money on a credit card, we're going to have it paid off in a couple months. No, I'm talking about you've got a revolving balance on multiple credit cards every month. Maybe for the past year, maybe for longer than that. But you've gotten to a point where you realize you're making a certain amount of income and you've got all these minimum payments that are now catching up to you, and after making all these minimum payments, you've got no cash left over. There's nothing left for any sort of spending for the rest of the month after you've made all these minimum payments. And guess what? You're gonna dip back into those credit cards again to be able to pay for anything else for the rest of the month. And you're gonna grow those balances. So when you recognize that that's the problem that you're currently dealing with right now, and you're starting to realize, I have no idea how I am ever gonna get rid of these balances and get out of this debt. This is just gonna be a revolving cycle I'm gonna forever deal with. When you realize that that's what you're dealing with, it's time to make a plan. That's where you gotta start. You gotta realize that you're in a bit of trouble here, and when you gotta make your way through something, you can't just do it with the same manner of thinking that got you where you are right now. You've got to change something. And I don't mean that, oh, I gotta cut back, getting my morning coffee at Starbucks, which, by the way, I have. I've cut spending in every aspect at this point where I can, because obviously we got a lot of things that we have no control over, like the freaking gas, the groceries, the utility bills, the mortgage, the insurances. They're all sky high right now, so we can't control those, but we can control ourselves and how we spend, and we can control the plan that we put together to move forward and executing getting out of debt, because continuing in this cycle is not going to lead to any sort of financial freedom. And that's ultimately where we want to be, because when we have that financial freedom, we can make more decisions, have more control over our lives. So while it might be necessary for you to cut back some small spending, it's not really the small spending that's the major problem here for you. And while they can add up a lot over the month, you certainly need to keep track of them. It's going to be the big expenses that you can control, that you do have control over, that are going to make a big difference in your ability to get out of debt as fast as possible. For instance, if you got some major car payments and you can get rid of those cars, do it. The very first time that I got out of debt on my first debt-free journey, I sold the truck that I absolutely loved, had to have, got rid of a huge monthly payment, got rid of the insurance on it, and boom, suddenly I was able to just catapult our way into debt freedom. Hit that follow button. Let's go on a debt-free journey together.